What's happening, guys? It's Shane here. So the career that you decide to go into is going to have a huge impact on your future financial success as well as your overall well-being. And studies have shown that people are most happy when they're making over $70,000 to $75,000 a year, depending on which study you look at. And it doesn't take a genius to see that making more money means you're going to have less problems and more freedom. And less problems means that you're going to be less stressed, you're going to have less things that you have to worry about, and that in turn is going to make you more happy. Now, if you choose a career that doesn't make you very much money, you're going to have a lot of other problems that pop up in your life. And if you just go purely for your passion and choose something that you love to do, but there's no jobs out there, or if there are jobs, they barely make any money, then unfortunately, you're probably going to have to get a second job, or maybe you might have to work 80 hours a week, and your overall happiness will ironically go down. And everybody knows that money isn't everything. It's not the only thing that contributes to your happiness. But if you're going to spend a bunch of time and money and effort breaking into a career, you're going to want to make sure that you're compensated well. So you really have to find a good middle ground between passion and practicality. So in other videos, I've gone over degrees and majors and industries that create the most millionaires. And in those videos, a lot of the times the millionaires were created because the people that went into those careers ended up starting their own business, they became entrepreneurs, and that's how they made their millions. But in this video, I'm just gonna go over careers where you don't have to become a business owner, start your own business, become an entrepreneur. You can just get a job in one of these careers, just be really smart how you invest your money and become a millionaire that way. Because let's be honest, even though entrepreneurship is a great way to become a millionaire and become financially free, it's definitely not for everybody. So the first one I'm gonna go over on this list is going to be physicians, aka medical doctors. And everybody knows that doctors make a lot of money. The average doctor makes over $300,000 a year, and certain specialties make a lot more than that. And I think that this is a really good career to go into, but I also think it's a little bit overhyped. And the reason for that is because it takes so long to become a medical doctor. You're gonna have to do 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of grad school, and then usually at least 3 years, sometimes up to 7 years of a residency before you can even start making the big bucks. And not only that, but during this whole time, especially in medical school and then when you're in residency, you're probably going to be studying or working over 80 hours a week. When it comes to being a doctor, work-life balance doesn't really exist, and it is one of the professions that has the highest suicide rate and depression rates because of that. And then additionally, you're constantly around people who are at the lowest points in their lives, and that can tend to rub off on you and you can get a little bit jaded by it. But with that being said, if this is a profession that's right for you, if you do your research and make sure that it's right for you, then this is a really, really good one to go into. Now, the next one on the list is going to be engineers, and this one probably doesn't surprise you at all, but basically engineers make extremely good entrepreneurs, but if you aren't an entrepreneur, you don't want to go down that road, this is still a really good job to get into. Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, talks about how he loves investing in companies that are run by engineers and hiring engineers because these are the people who have real world problem solving skills, and they're generally very intelligent and very hard workers. And engineers are the people who create or design new products, or they actually improve upon existing products. And these are skills that basically every company out there wants. Now, I will say that getting just any engineering degree isn't as surefire of a degree as it used to be in the past decades. You know, you do want to do your research and make sure you're getting a degree that's going to end up getting you a job, but engineering is still a very, very solid choice. Now, I could have chosen a lot of different careers for the next one on the list, but I went with financial planner. But really, this is just overall anybody who's involved in the finance industry. And financial planners are basically people who help individuals like you or I decide where they should invest, where their money should go, make a plan for retiring. And this is just a very, very good industry in general to go into, and financial planner is one of the best careers in the industry. Now, the next one on the list is going to be investment banker, and these are basically people who choose where to invest money that's put into a bank. And if you're able to break into this career, basically all investment bankers make over 6 figures. That's almost like an entry-level salary, and a lot of them are making over $1 million a year. So this is one where you don't have to go off on your own, create a business, do all that stressful stuff. You can just work within the confines of this career and still become a millionaire pretty easily. The next next one on the list is going to be still in the medical profession, but it's not going to be medical doctors. It's going to be one step down from medical doctors. And by that, I mean physical therapists, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, people who have a professional degree, but they don't want to take the time to go through the 12 years or longer that it takes to become a medical doctor. The salaries in these careers are very, very good. And in general, the medical field is just a very stable job to get. In my opinion, it doesn't matter how good artificial intelligence gets, they're never going to be able to replace nurses or doctors or anything like that. And there's always going to be demand in the medical field because unfortunately people will always be sick and they'll need someone to take care of them. Now, number one on the list, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you can probably guess which one this is, and it is a software engineer, or really anybody who's involved in computer science, computer programming. This is going to be so huge over the next 20 years. There's already so much demand right now, and the demand is only going to go up as artificial intelligence and technology becomes more and more prevalent. And the amazing thing about becoming a software engineer is if you decide that you're somebody who just wants to be an employee for the rest of your life, you just want to live a simple life, go to work 40 hours a week, and then go home and enjoy the rest of your time, this is great. You can go into that. But if at some point in the future you decide that you want to try your hand at entrepreneurship, this is also an incredible industry to get into. You will have insider knowledge and an insider track on creating software that different companies might need. One thing that's great about creating a tech company is a lot of them end up getting bought out by big businesses like Google or Facebook. And I think a mistake that a lot of new entrepreneurs make is that they don't have an exit strategy. And a great exit strategy is to get bought out by a big company for $10 million, $20 million, $100 million. Make sure to check out these videos right here. I made them just for you. Go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the little notification bell, and then comment down below what you think about the video or any other video ideas you have that I should make. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.
Good day, fellow investors. We discuss a lot of stocks, investments, sector analysis, discuss the economy, and who knows what else on this channel. However, such focus might lead us to forget about the key components of investments and something that's way more important than any stock analysis, any macroeconomic trend, or whatever the Fed does. So in this video, I want to remind the seasoned investors what it is that really leads to wealth creation over the long term, and provide motivation for the new and upcoming investors to show what can they achieve with very little over the very, very long term. So what we are going to discuss now, we're going to use an example how to become a millionaire, and then we are going to discuss the most important things when investing. The habit of investing, compound interest, and that's why I used Einstein on a thumbnail. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Who understands it, earns it, who doesn't, pays it. And then the very important thing is having an investment goal, knowing what your goal is, and then you will find a way to get to that goal. So let's immediately start with a few examples to see how investment works over time, and that should be the base for every investment mindset. If you follow this, you are guaranteed to succeed in your investing life cycle. I'm going to go through 4 scenarios. The goal is to reach 1 million in each scenario. We're going to go through different investment returns and see what happens with different monthly investments amounts. At the end, we will come to an investment scenario that's not that improbable, where you can reach $1 million with just $3 a day. Unbelievable, but I think everybody might be able to do that. So if we have the goal to reach 1 million in 10 years, we have to invest a lot of money. If we start at the bottom with an achieved return of 12%, we need to invest more than $500,000 and $4,505 per month to reach $1 million. If we lower the achieved return from 12, we go to 10, 8, 4%, then we have to invest $817,000 in 10 years to reach 1 million. So this is not so motivational. But let's go to 20 years, and you will see how if we double the investment horizon, the monthly investment not only halves, but it becomes 1/3, 1/4, of what it was in the 10-year scenario. So in 20 years we need to invest much less. With a 4% return, 2,700 per month, with a 10%, 1,300 per month, you see that as time goes, the monthly deposit becomes smaller and smaller to reach a significant sum like $1 million. What's very important also here that small differences in returns, 8, 10, 12%, lead to huge differences in what you have to invest. Let's see 30 years, and you can see here how the monthly deposits really become very, very low. At 12% over 30 years, you practically need to invest just $10 a day, and after 30 years you'll be a millionaire at 12%. At 10%, a little bit more than that, $15 a day, 20 something at 8%. Over 30 years, I believe everybody can reach 8%, and that will be returns on average over the long term. So don't worry about the current low expected returns from the high valuations, because if you invest on a monthly basis, you will do well over time. And then let's see 40 years. If you reach 12% return, which is possible, you need only $103 per month, or 3 point something dollars, to reach 1 million in 40 years. So even if people say I have only little to invest, $100 per month can lead to huge returns over the long term. And I believe that in this day and age, everybody can make an extra $100, $200, $300 a month. You take a side job, you start an online business, you do something, and a few bucks here and there can easily be made. If you're consistent, you will learn how to make much more with such a side job. Nevertheless, if you keep at it over the long term, the results are practically guaranteed. So the key is to invest on a monthly basis, look for compound interest, look for good returns over the long term, not to be afraid of lower returns now, because you know that over the long term those returns will average out. However, the monthly habit of investing will allow you to weather whatever happens and lead you to your goal. And the fourth is, of course, add something every month to it, make it a fixed percentage of your income, and you will do well over time wherever you invest and whatever you do. Now, what are the problems with the data we have seen? Well, many say 20, 30 years, 40 years is a very long term. Well, it is correct. Then 10, 12% returns on investment, high. From current perspective, yes. However, I have a few tips that will help you mitigate that, and that you can do both. You can live your life normally and have something that works for you on the side that leads you to the million goal that we have set. Tip number 1, make it automatic. So make an investment tool something somewhere automatic that puts something aside that you don't even feel. You have seen how $3 a day can make you a millionaire. So if you do that, over the long term, it's automatic. There are investment funds that do it automatically. You can set up a brokerage account where you automatically put in your money, and then you buy once every quarter, once every month, or once every 6 months. You put that money into one stock that you think it's okay, and you leave it there for 20, 30 years. I guarantee you that you will be amazed by the return of something like that, even if you think the amounts you're putting there are very, very little and insignificant. Over time, compound interest will accumulate. The third tip, if you have an investment portfolio which you like to manage, which you like to maybe have shorter time horizon goals, create another broker, another investment. There are very cheap brokers, almost free brokers now. Create an account there, put it automatically, buy every 3 months, so have 2 brokers, and let it compound over time. Find a stock, okay, this is the stock I like this month or this quarter, put everything in and forget about it for the next 30 years. You will see the results. Looking forward to your comments. Any ideas about this? Any ideas how to increase the value for our viewers here? How to make it easier? How to make it better? How to make it stronger? Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.
Scared of in the next 30 years?
Yeah, we people are very lucky because we are in the area that the world is in a very big transformation because of the technology. I think we read a lot on the books that 200 years ago when the first industry have a lot of great people, and then 100 years ago electricity revolution come, a lot of success people. So now the technology come. This new technology will also create a lot of successful people, interesting careers. But honestly, every technological revolution come is going to create a lot of social problems. And my view is the first technology revolution caused the First World War. Second technology revolution caused the Second World War. Now we're on the third. So what is going to happen? People worry about artificial intelligence. People worry about robots. People worry about a computer and data and privacy and securities. People start to worry. But whether you worry, it will come. You don't worry, it comes. So the thing is how you change yourself. So I think next 30 years, the world is going to be huge change. If there's a third world war, I think the world war should be a war against the disease, a war against environment pollution, right? A war against poverty together. We should not a war against ourselves. But if we do not see clearly that using the new technology to solve this problem, if we do not unite, align together, human beings are going to fight each other. Because every technology revolution will make the world unbalanced. When something unbalanced coming, somebody used to be number one, suddenly become number two, and somebody was number three, and then become number one. It's all not comfortable. So we people, if you're 30 years old, my view is that when you are 20 to 30 years old, you should follow a good boss, join a good company to learn how to do things properly. When you're 30 to 40 years old, if you want to do something yourself, just do it. You still can't afford to lose, to fail. But when you're 40 to 50 years old, my suggestion is that you should do things that you are good at, right? And not do things that, oh, that's very interesting, I want to try something new. It's a bit dangerous more. When you're 50 to 60 years old, spending time training and developing young people, the next generation. When you're over 60 years old, better stay with your grandchildren. But this is normally general like that. Not everybody will like, but most of the people will like that. So 30 years old, we people, next 30 years, are the luckiest period. We have a lot of challenges, a lot of things are happening, and with our knowledge, with our physical power, it's time you need to change. You have to think, if you want to be successful tomorrow, it's impossible. If you want to be successful a year later, it's impossible. But if you want to win 10 years later, you have a chance. That is what I think.
Wonderful. And moving on to a topic which is kind of impossible to ignore after 2017. So a third of all the people in leadership positions in Alibaba are women. But the picture elsewhere is a bit more bleak. And a friend of mine recently said something that has really stayed with me. Women are tired of empowerment programs, and we want power. In 2016, venture capitalists invested $58.2 billion in male-founded companies, while women received just $1.46 billion. And as 2017 showed, it was a year of sexual harassment scandals, the gender pay gap still exists, and unfortunately, the list does go on. So how do you think we can move beyond tokenistic gestures towards genuine gender equality?
Yeah, that is very interesting. A few years, like 4 years ago, there is a journalist came to our company, and when he leaves, he asked me a question, why there are so many women in your company? And I never realized we have so many women in our company. I said, anything wrong? Today, we have a 49%, close 49% of the employees of our company are women. That's a lot for a high-tech company. It's not on purpose we hire women. We think they are great in helping us to grow. Alibaba is an e-commerce company. E-commerce is a service industry. To serve people better, you should have a service heart. We find that women doing much better jobs than men. And the second is that last century, People compete because muscle. No, not this century is not muscle, it's the wisdom. And next is, I believe, if a person wants to be successful, you should have a high EQ. But if you don't want to lose quickly, you should have a high IQ. But if you want to be respected, you should have high LQ, the Q of love. So those three Qs put together, a lot of men, they have a high IQ but low EQ, and a very tiny LQ. Women, balance-wise, they're the best. If you want your company to be successful, if you want your company to operate with wisdom, with care, women is the best. In my company, we notice that women, they care others much more than men. Even on our site, today on shopping site, e-commerce, we find women buy a lot of things. But they buy for their husband, their parents, their kids. Men only buy for themselves mostly. Because you care, that makes you the difference. So we have 49% of the colleagues in the company are women, and close 37% of the senior management are women. We never feel anything wrong, and women, they sacrifice more. When they love it, they believe it, they continue to do it. So I think one of the secret sauce for Alibaba to be successful was successful in the past 18 years because we have so many women colleagues. And the other thing is that we feel so proud. And most of the time you see I go out, I never realized that when we count always 50% of women with my delegation, my team. Because we never think they're women, we think they're great colleagues. So if you try to say, now we got too many men, so we have to put some women inside, that's a disaster for both sides.
So what would your advice be to companies that operate a little bit more on that quota-based system but seem to be not making progress or not having such kind of representation?
When you have a quota-based, you must have a lot of women. You will never reach that. I think if a company full of men, trust me, this company cannot be sustainable, cannot keep on growing. Because just like a steel, if you don't put wood inside, this steel is too tough. It's easy to break. So when you have a woman and man in the same company, when something happens, the women are for example, one of the value for our company is that the number one value is customer number one, employee number two, shareholder number three. This is everywhere I go. Wall Street did not like my point, but this is what I said. If you like us, invest in us. If you don't like us, please sell our stocks. Don't buy us. We believe customer number one, employee number two, shareholder number three. But when we start to compete, men suddenly get very angry, and they start. And women always come and say, no competition. Let's think about customer number one. Most of the women, they believe in the first day dream or first day love. Most of the men, easy to forget. I'm sorry, it's not I say bad about men. This is statistic. This is statistic. This is why our company works the balance. And it's naturally happening. It's not like so a lot of people have a tendency, man is better in doing things. But we think that even if man is better, we still have to hire the woman inside. And then the women have enough women will hire people more. So this is how we did it. So I don't know how many high-tech companies in the world like us, 49% colleagues are women. We feel proud for that.
As you should be, and I think it's a very strong message to send out to, like I say, other companies that have a range of reasons for why that's not the case, because clearly you've been able to build the most successful one with that being so. So you just came off stage after giving a talk about digital e-commerce and what needs to happen for small businesses and entrepreneurs to benefit from globalization. At a time when globalization once again is being questioned, is it really delivering for the most vulnerable? Is it delivering for people in the global south, etc.? So what is your message to people in this room kind of about globalization, really?
I think globalization cannot be stopped. Nobody can stop globalization. Nobody can stop trade. And I believe if trade stops, war starts. Trade is the way to solve to dissolve the war, not to cause the wars. I think globalization did a fantastic job in the past 30 years. Enriched a lot of countries, but of course caused a lot of problems, right? Young people did not have opportunities. Small business have not opportunities. Developing countries were neglected. But it's only 30 years. It's a baby. It's a growth. You have to improve it. If you do not improve it, then you kill it. It's easy. Most of the time, to kill something is much easy. So my beliefs, it's our generation's job. Today, we have a better technology. We have a better knowledge about globalization. And it's our generation's responsibility or opportunity to improve it. Tell me, how can you stop globalization? Now, artificial intelligence come, robots come. My grandfather worked 16 hours a day, and he said he was very busy. We work 8 hours a day. We said we are very busy. Our children may only work 3 hours or 4 hours a day for 3 days a week. I bet they will say, oh, we're very busy. Then when you work only 3 hours a day and 4 days a week, what are you going to do? You're going to travel around, right? You cannot stay in the home for a week. You will travel. 30 years ago, normal life, you visit 20 to 30 cities whole your life. 30 years later, in your life, you will visit 300 cities in your life because of mobile. How can you stop it? It's impossible. So thinking about that, the only thing is to improve it, to make it simpler. Global trade should be simple, should be modernized, should giving inclusive. Everybody have the opportunity. So my strong message is that, well, I feel sorry for WTO. They did a great job, but in the past 20 years, when you put the 200 government ministers in one room, how can they agree on something? Right? Because I don't like your country. No matter how good suggestion you have, I say no. But business people, even if we put 200 business people in one room, we will surely agree on something. And this is what I believe. The next generation of globalization should be inclusive, should create opportunities for young people to get involved. The first globalization in human history was controlled by few kings and emperors. Last 30 years, globalization was controlled by 60,000 big companies. If you're not among the big companies, if you're not in the big, powerful countries, you don't have a chance. The next 30 years, I bet we will have 6 million or 16 million or 60 million companies get involved in globalization. And I'm sure we will make it happen. Together with a lot of people, maybe with you. With a mobile phone, if people still using mobile phone 30 years later. With a mobile phone, you can global buy. You want to buy something from Kenya, you just click. You want to buy something from Norway, you click. Global buy, global sell. If you're a small thing, without internet, you can only sell in your village or small town. Today, you can sell across the world. And global pay, global delivery, and global travel, the only thing you have to bring is a mobile phone, no, not even a passport. This is going to happen in 10 years. And this is the message. Let's catch this opportunity. If you complain, the other people catch it. If you catch the opportunity, embrace it now, you will be the next Alibaba. People like me, I was born in a very poor family. I never got a great education. You know, I failed all the examinations. For what reason? I don't know. But later, I realized I don't have money. I don't have technology. I don't have a lot of good backgrounds. We have a rich uncle or something. No. The only thing I competed with my people, the young people, is let's compete for 10 years later. This is what I believe 10 years later will be happening. So everything I do for that goal, I know 10 years later, this thing is going to happen. So prepare for that. Because I know if I compete with him for next month, no chance. So this is how my message, it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity. And it's the opportunity for people like us. This world, the most difficult thing is to convincing a successful people. When you tell him, this is a great opportunity, he said, no, forget it, right? I've been doing this for 30 years. But for people like us, we're looking for opportunities in order to survive. So we will do anything to be creative. So this is the message. 30 years, it's an opportunity for us. It's a challenge for those people who are 60 years old. If they're 60 years old, not discrimination, but it is tough for them.
And maybe says something about how we need to look at government as well in terms of more young people entering and doing policy making. So if there are these 6 or 16 or 60 million businesses and we're all kind of hyper-connected, on a more fundamental level, do you think consumption is making us happy?
Consumption? What do you mean consumption by making us happy?
But through consuming, are we becoming happier through being more connected? Is that genuinely driving
of course,
connection?
consumption will make, without consumption, definitely we're not happy, right? But if the consumption may not be, the thing is that for me, people like me, people say, Jack, you are very rich, but I don't have time to spend money. And I know this money does not belong to me. When I have 1 million, 2 million, it's my money. But when you have 20 million, problem comes, you think the US dollar is going to devalue or English pound and the stock market is going to problem. When you're over $1 billion, that is the responsibility because the society trusts you can manage the money better. If you think that is your money, you'll get into trouble. This is what I always believe. That's the, how can a person have 20 or $2 billion? No matter how hard you work, you should not get 2 billion, 20 billion. The money people put on you is the trust and credit you have. So you should spend money better than government. You should spend money better than the other people. Spend money on the right places. So consumptions, yes. And like a service industry, let me tell you one thing. The AI robots is going to kill a lot of jobs. Because in the future, machine. But there will be, we have to create modern service industry. Service industry is going to have. Service is got a lot about consumptions. So doing the consumptions, service industry has huge hope. But you have to do uniquely.
I think from that slightly philosophical point, we can turn to the floor for questions. So if you, if you could please introduce yourself, say where you're from, please keep your questions succinct so we can take as many as possible and relevant for the whole group. Great, so would you like to go first?
Hi, my name is Parv. I'm a global shaper from Chicago. And you just talked about philanthropy, and I'm curious if you could talk about how you see your role is changing in the giving space, particularly given the fractured world we live in.
Yeah, I think philanthropy, it's not about helping others. It's about helping yourself. I had a huge debate with my colleagues. Several years ago, there's a big earthquake in China. And there was a big earthquake in Japan. So we donated I forgot the exact, like $20,000 to Japan, $10, $15 to China. And people say, why we donate that little? Because we have a lot of money. And my point is, no matter how much money you donate, 2 million, 20 million, that money compared to that is tiny. You cannot change a lot of things there. The thing you donate because you change yourself. When you change, the world is changed. You have to change yourself, right? And the next thing is that philanthropy is about action. It's about involvement. It's not about giving money. It's about to wake up people's consciousness. So I think, to me, I grow up, and my globalization is grow up in this place. Year 2001, when I was nominated as a young global leader, I had no idea what is Davos, where is it, and what is about a young global leader. But I came here, I learned, I listened about these corporate global citizenship and globalization and all things. I grow up. I understand. This is, to me, it's like a philanthropy. And this has changed to me. As I told Schwab, that every time I come to Davos, I want to spend time with young people. Because I benefit from young global leader, early days. When I listen to Bill Gates, and Bill Clinton, and George Soros, these guys, at that time we don't have that many people. Very poor facilities. Well, very cold. I work like 30 minutes driving in a bus coming here and watching. But now I think still have. But this is good. This is the tuition we pay for a grown up. And now, to me, I think spending time with you benefit me, and also I want to tell you my true experience. It's a philanthropy. It does not necessarily mean money. So, by charity, you cannot change the world. But if you have a philanthropy heart, you can do a lot of things. So I find this one, unfortunately, a lot of people have a business heart here, making money, but do things like a philanthropy. What we should do is should be a philanthropy heart, but have a business skill. I hate a lot of people do the opposite. They want to make money, but they talk like a philanthropy. And they do like a philanthropy, waste a lot of money. So this is what I mean, and it's, if you want your team to continue to work with you all your life, you have to plant the seed of care the world, care others. The first day they join. I don't like a lot of companies make a lot of money because making pollutions and counterfeit products. By end of the year, donate some money. This is no good. Business, the philanthropy idea should be buried into the business model. That's, yeah.
Philanthropy of heart, I think, a message that young people can take forward. Please.
Hi, my name is Iman. I'm a global shaper from the Jeddah Hub in Saudi Arabia. My question is, as a young boy, did you envision that your life would be like this? Did you have intuition about this? And if so, do you think the belief helped in achieving such great success?
As a young boy, I never thought, as a young boy, even today, I never thought I would be here. Honestly, I never thought. But as a young boy, when I look back, every problems I met when I was a kid benefited me. I failed so many times. People probably know that I'm applying jobs for so many jobs, over 30 jobs, all rejected, not even got a chance. 24 of us were interviewed for a KFC job. 23 accepted. I was the only guy rejected. 6 people went for looking for a police job. 5 accepted. I was the only one. My cousin and I applied job as a server in a 4-star hotel in my city. We waited a long queue for 2 hours. He was accepted. I was rejected. So my mother looked at me, but I know this is a training course for me. Before my 30 years old, I'm a failure. People lose, but I never give up. I think there is an opportunity there. And then I was a teacher later. I graduated from university. I was a teacher in the university for 6 years. Number 5 year, I was elected the best teacher of my university, elected by students. So I said, everything I taught my students are the things I learned from books. What if I go out, spend 10 years, experience all the things, whether fail or succeed, I go back to teach again. That was my original thinking doing Alibaba. So I never thought I could be rich. I never thought it would be successful. I never thought we could survive for 18 years. And then we made it. The only thing that today we should do is share the experience and know-how, especially share the mistakes, suffers with others. My thinking is that, you guys remember, if you want to be successful, learn from the other people's mistakes. Don't learn from the successful stories. Successful stories they make, don't listen to that. There are a lot of reasons behind it. Just like I remember the first time Harvard Business School came to us, say, Jack, we want to write a case study for you. That's years 2001 or 2000. They came, they spent 1 week, and they write a report, and I read, I said, this is not me. And they said, this is you. I said, no, this is not us. He said, this is you. So they make up his sign, and the case study go up, and they start to teach in a lot of universities. The next 5 years, they invited me to go to the case study, and they always find a competitor of my company. And after every case study, Alibaba will die, that company will succeed. All the students agree. And actually, every 5 years, all the competitors die, we still survive. So how can you study this kind of a successful story? Learn from the mistakes, the other people. No matter how smart you are, you will encounter these mistakes. You learn from mistakes not because you will be able to avoid mistakes. You will able to, when these mistakes come, this suffer comes, you know how to deal with it, how to face it. The book I want to write, if I can, is Alibaba 1001 Mistakes. This is the most treasurable things that in my life. In my life, it's not how much we achieved. It's how much we gone through the tough days and mistakes. And this is what, if you start to think now, it'll be good. So if you ask me when I was a boy, I never thought about that. Never.
Let's go to the back of the room. Yeah.
Fan Lin, YGL from Shanghai. I know that you recently spent 100 billion RMB in deep tech research. I just wonder how you think of the future of deep tech and how that's going to influence humanity and creativity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think technology, as a company, we invest 100 billion RMB, which is like 150, right, or 15, no, yeah, 15 billion US dollars on researching for the high tech. As a company, I hope in the future we gain our profit because of our technology, not because of our size. So we have to invest in technology. But I don't like this kind of, there's a debate. Artificial intelligence, big data is going to threaten the human beings. I think artificial intelligence should support human beings. The technology should always doing something to enable people instead of disable people. When steam machine comes, when cars comes, people hate it. You know, today we think car is good. When the automobile when first was designed, people hate, especially this car, this horseman, right? They destroy every car they can see. So I would say, people like us, when we have the money, we have the resources, we have the young, all the excellent young people, we should spend money on the technology that enable people, empower people, make life better. So this is what we want to invest. And I think artificial intelligence, no matter how artificial intelligence is good, human being in the future compete with the machine on knowledge, you don't have a chance. Computer is always going to be smarter than you are. When there's a car, forget about who runs faster. When there's a plane, don't think you can fly. When there's a computer, you know, computer is always smarter than you are. They never forget. They remember everything. They never get angry. They calculate faster. But computer can never be as wise as a man. What's the difference between smart and wisdom? My view is, smart people see something the other people don't see. A wise people see something, he pretend he did not see it. Smart people know what he want. A wise people know what he doesn't want. Wisdom, the person with wisdom knows, only you know I don't want this. Then you know what do you want. So I think this is the money we invest to support human beings, not supporting Alibaba. This lab is open to the whole world. It's not supporting Alibaba at all. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So hi, I'm Saad, Global Shaper from the Islamabad Hub. I really want to know what you think about leadership. Is it something that comes from the heart when it comes to decision making as a leader, or is it something that that you have to take, you have to think through your mind as well, or is it a bit of both? Like as a leader, when you make decisions, would you go with something that you really feel about from your heart, or would you try to have a mix of your mind and your heart when you make decisions?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I've been thinking about that. First, it's your nature instinct. There must have something that you different. Second is you need a training. You should be trained through all the tough experience, but still positive. I found out some great leaders in the world. They are always positive. They never complain others, and never complain. And they look at the things in a different view, like normal people. So I think people in my company, at the beginning, they don't like me because I'll always think about 10 years, 5 years. And then after we're working together for 3 or 5 years, they find, you're right. Then we got the credit rating. And as a CEO, one of the jobs, when everybody's happy, you have to see the unhappy things. When everybody's unhappy, you have to see the happy things. So leadership is nature, but you have to train and learn. And I got my leadership upgraded in Davos. I see so many. Ali Enter Financing, how many people here know about Alipay? Thank you. Alipay's decision was made here. I was thinking about Alipay, but I was not dare to launch Alipay because in China, if you do financing without license, you will be in jail at that time. So I went to the banks, can you help us do the e-commerce on transaction? No. No banks would accept it. So if there will be no Alipay, no financing, the e-commerce would go nowhere. So year 2004, I was here. Listen to a speech by 2 state leaders about leadership. And this guy said, leadership is about responsibility. You believe it, but the people don't believe it. But if you think it's so critical, you should pay any price to do it. So that day changed my mind, and I called back to my team and say, let's launch it within 1 month. If somebody has to go to the jail, I go to the jail. Who will be the second one follow me? If I go, you continue, and you go to the jail, you go continue. That was they called the leadership determination. And year 2004, I made a decision here, I called it back. And now today the Alipay launched, and it's so big, over 800 million people today using Alipay globally. This is called, yeah.
Wonderful. Shall we take one from YGL to be fair? Any questions? Yeah, please.
Hello, my name is Pablo from Costa Rica, YGL. And given your perspective of caring and being a trustee of all this, what do you do for self-care and also maybe within your company? Because earlier on, often you can cut through sleep or other things in a silly way, and you realize that if you plan for the long term, one also has to take personal care, be either mindfulness or prioritizing better. And how are you doing this, and how do you promote that in your company?
Well, I'm lucky that I have 18 co-founders, and most of them my students. When in my apartment, I told them my dream and my mission, and we videotape. Funny thing is that when Alibaba launched for the first day, I said, let's videotape everything, every important meetings that we join together. The purpose is that someday, if we fail, we give the videos to the people to research why we fail. If we succeed, give the videos to the other people. So we have almost a whole house of videotapes. So the first videotape, I speak for 2 hours, and those guys look at me. Okay, so that's what you want to do? I said, yeah, this is what I want to do. I was the first. I know nothing about technology. I know nothing about management. I know nothing about. But the only thing is that you don't have to know a lot of things. You have to find the people who are smarter than you are. My first way is always find people who knowledge on computer smarter than I am. Accounting, smarter than. For so many years, I always try to find the people smarter than I am. And when you find so many smart people, my job is to making sure the smart people can work it together. And then if smart people can work it together, it's easier. The vision they will believe. Because if stupid people can work it together easily, smart people can never work together. But stupid people work it together easily, they don't believe the vision. The people who believe the vision, but they don't work together. So very important is finding smart people. And my job is 2 things. Making sure they work together. So the culture is important. Long-term, you should be ideal with great, strong vision leader, but you should also have to survive today. If you don't survive today, you're gone. So the best way to promote your company is not you. It's not me as the CEO. The best way is your product, your services, your employees. The best product of your company is your employee. So I spent a lot of time, early days. For the first 2,000 employees of Alibaba, I speak everybody for 1 or 2 hours when they're joining. I said, I will never promise you will be rich. I never promise you will be promoted. But I promise you'll suffer. I promise you will have a terrible life, and right? And all the terrible things I promise when join this company. Right? But good things. If you promise good things, you are misleading them, because I cannot promise myself. We know this is the future, but we are not sure that we will be there. But if we don't work together, we all will lose our job. So that's the thing.
And they do always say, and I think I've experienced this myself, if you knew how hard it would be, would you do it? And it seems for you, a key part of leadership is leaving the ego at the door and being willing to hire people better than you, who you can then kind of empower to carry out your vision.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Iman from Global Shaper Jakarta Hub. How does your experience of being a teacher influence how you run the business today? And do you have any message for those who are working in education space? Thank you.
How
does your experience of being a teacher in early days
Oh.
influence how you run the business today?
Yeah. Let me tell you one thing. I never thought I could be a CEO. I never thought later I'd become a good CEO. One of the things I learned is from teachers. As a teacher, very important character of a teacher is the teacher always expects his students better. I want this student to become a banker, that student to become a mayor, that guy is a scientist. This is all teachers want. If you don't have this kind of thinking, it's a terrible teacher. A good teacher always wants the other people better. You don't want this teacher in jail, that teacher is a bankrupt, that teacher is, you know. So as a CEO, I trained myself is I always want those people join the company do better than they thought. And everything the company should do is making sure the good environment to training him to be more positive. And everything we do, this is a teacher. And teacher does not mean I know better than you are. Everything I know better than you are because I learn from others. So a teacher should learn all the time. A teacher should share all the time. A teacher should always expect the other people better than you are. And by the way, education, it's a big challenge now. If we do not change the way we teach, 30 years later we'll be in trouble. Because the way we teach, the thing we teach our kids are the things the past 200 years is knowledge-based. And we cannot teach our kids to compete with machine who is smarter. We have to teach something unique. That is, machine can never catch up with us. In this way, 30 years later, our kids have the chance. I hope I answer your question.
It's a very difficult one to answer, but what are those skills that you think we need to teach? If we're moving away from knowledge, what are the key things?
Value, believing, independent thinking, teamwork, care for others. These are the soft part. The knowledge may not teach you that. Folks, that's why I think we should teach our kids on sports, the music, the painting, art. So making sure humans should be different from, everything we teach should be different from machine. If the machine can do better, you have to think about it.
Hi, this is Hashim Al-Musawi from Manama Hub, Bahrain. Talking about education and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, we have been talking about people losing their jobs or they are not qualified enough with the skills needed. What are you doing for the people within your company to get up to date, to get continuous learning, to know what's the technologies needed for the future? Thank you.
Okay, luckily I don't have to do a lot of these kind of things in my company because we are fighting every day for the future. We know if we do not work hard, Facebook, or Google, and Amazon, all these are going to do better, right? So this is why we are globalized. It's a competition globalized. But we know that it's not about technology competition. All the people today, not like 18 founders, we only have 2.5 people are engineers. Today we have more than 25,000 engineers. They are all smart people. They do much better job than the 18 years ago. But the only thing I want to making sure that these people have a philanthropy heart. Because the data we have, the technology we have, if they do not have a great heart inside, we are going to make disaster for the world. Google, Facebook, Amazon, Alibaba, these companies, we are the luckiest company of this century. And we have the if we're lucky, we have the responsibility that we should have a good heart to do something good. But on the other thing I want to say is about that making sure that everything you do is for the future. For example, you know about Singles Day? Singles Day, shopping day, November 11th is the day we created. Last year, that day, we sold 25 billion US dollars for one day. And for the first minute, over 70 to 80 million people rush inside to shop on the mobile phone. So you have to making sure the system is good enough. We have to finish 270,000 transactions per second. Can you imagine that?
hard to compute.
270,000 transactions per second. If we do not have that kind of computing capability, the whole system will crash because we have several 100 million people waiting to pay the money. So this technology, we know why we do this for 1 day, because we want to test the technology. This technology should be inclusive, because we know today in China we create probably like 100 million package delivery. We believe a day. 5 years later, the whole world would deliver 1 billion packages per day. Think about what's the technology. Are we ready for that? So the singular day is to testing this technology and to be inclusive. So making sure the market drive them, not the boss drive them.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Jack. Jesus Cepeda from Mexico, from the Monterrey Hub, Global Shaper. We have been talking a lot about our generation, and I really like the conversation about 30 years before, 30 years after. Actually, I have been hearing these days that we haven't had this snow in 30 years here. So the question is going to a quote of Professor Schwab. He said a couple of months ago to the Global Shapers that we're the first generation that is going to suffer about climate change, and we are the last one that can do something about it. So with your teaching passion, what are the 3 things that you are saying to educate the 10 million employees or the 100 million employees or everyone who's looking at this video to develop an environmental mindset, a spiritual mindset, a non-fragmented world mindset?
Okay. First, let me say this. Every disasters, the environment disasters, is a reflect of human heart today. Because when we need too much, we destroy a lot of things. I think the human being today, the past 200 years, because of knowledge-based technology or knowledge-based training system, all we want to do is get more. We want more things. We go to the moon, we go to Mars, we go this, we always outside looking. We human beings never inside looking. If you don't have the inside looking, you will never be wise. If you're not wise, you never know what you don't want. Today, human beings get much more than they expect they should have. So the environmental pollutions, the whole thing happening is because human beings become greedy, become arrogant. So this is why the big data, the data technology is trying to understand the inside of human. What is the data? Is the human behavior. A lot of people, trust me, the machine will know you better than you know yourself. Have you seen some movies? Some gamblers. You know, they're great. They look at the eyes. If he got a good card, this eyeball will shake. But normal people don't see it. The machine see all the details. Machine know you better. So what I would say is that in the data period, human being next to 100 years, human will try to understand inward looking. We will see a lot of ugly things of ourselves. When knowledge-based outward looking, you see the ugly things of the others and good things. When you look inside looking. This is Chinese philosophy. Chinese people, our believing is always inside looking. We're supposed to have inside checking every three times a day. But not really. If you can really do that, you can do that. Then you'll be good. So for environment, you're right. If we do not make action, take action, all the money you make will spend in the hospital, medicine. Our kids will be in big trouble. So let's fix it. And first fix our heart, fix our know-how, and fix our belief when you have a belief, when you have a religion, when you have a value, it's better. So I think this is what I concerned me. This is what I think the young people should always have, the value, the mission. If you have something you believe in your heart, then it would be different. This is what next 30 years education should be focused on.
We have time for one last brief question. Karuna?
Thank you. This is Karuna from the Port Louis Hub, Mauritius. And my question is, you talked about your workplace culture. I'd like to have one or two examples, if possible, of how do you motivate your employees. And I'd like to throw in a last question is, how much do you sleep? Because this is such a controversial topic and I keep hearing different versions. Thank you.
What do you mean keep the different versions?
Some people say you don't need sleep. I've heard CEOs sleep only 4 hours. Sorry, I've heard CEOs sleep only 3 to 4 hours, and whereas I've heard, like, you know, you need at least 8 hours. So yeah, I'm a bit divided, and I'd love to know your secret. Thank you.
Yeah. How do I motivate, incentive or motivate my colleagues? You have to find the people that can mobilize themselves. It's impossible to find to encourage a negative person. So the people you hire, the people work together, they have to be, or you cannot, we have 65,000 employees now, you cannot hire all of them that positive, but at least the people work with me. My management, leadership, several areas, they have to be positive. They have to know to incentive the others, because I cannot incentive everybody. And making sure the culture. So I think it would be very painful for me to talk to my vice president, and he need to be incentivized and mobilized every time, right? This won't work. If he does not know how to incentivize or mobilize his people, it's better. I don't think he will be the vice president. He should be a good engineer, good designer, but not a good leader. A good leader should know how, but not by only money. Most of people incentivized or mobilized not because you give them a lot of money. You give them respect, trust, appreciation, and correct, heartful advice. When you come to my meetings, internal meetings, you will be shocked because we are not like a lot of the other Chinese company. The boss say, everybody listen, take notes, and go down. We are like a war room. We make decision based on whose voice is louder. Right? Early days, you know, we fight and talk, and then making sure everybody speak up. Right. So this is also a way of mobilize and incentive. There are a lot of ways, and different people have a different way to send incentive. So this, how much time I sleep? Yeah, I have a problem. I mean, I sleep not very short, but not good. And I don't eat a lot. This is something that I was curious. I don't eat a lot. I'm a very picky on the food. And I don't know, sometimes I would love to see what the things that make me work like that. But for sure, that if I suddenly give me 1 month vacation, I'll collapse. I think there'll be something in my heart, maybe the mission. At the beginning, it's a mission of 18 people. Today, we have 65,000 people. They all believe the mission. So if I give up, I can give up my position, but I should not give up the mission. If I give up, everybody say, hey, no. So, and then especially today, Alibaba at this size, people continue to say, for this size, the growth rate will be tiny or down. So what's the 10, 20 years Alibaba will look like? If you want to be still be greater or triple our size, what's the direction, how to do it. So I spent a lot of time thinking, and I love to think. Good thing is I have a good team now. I think, I do the talk, they do the work. Yes.
On that note, I'm sorry we didn't
I applied for Harvard for 10 times, rejected. When KFC come to China, come to my city, 24 people went for the job. 23 people were accepted. I was the only one guy. One of the secret source for Alibaba's success is that we have a lot of women. 47% of our company are women. If you want to win in 21st century, empower others, making sure the other people better than you are, then you will be successful. So I find the women, they think about the others more than they think about themselves. China today is the second largest economy in the world. China should pay attention to the quality of the economy. Just like a human growth, certain time the slow of growth of your body was slow, but you should grow your mind, grow your culture, grow your value, grow your wisdom. I think China is moving to that direction. When you have $1 billion, that's not your money. That's the trust society gives on you. So many people I talked to at that time for Alipay, they say, this is the stupidest idea you have ever got. But I say, I don't care the stupid or clever, as long as people use it. Now we have 800 million people using this Alipay. Tai Chi is about how you balance, how you work, like a competition. People say when I compete with eBay, say, you hate eBay. No, I don't hate eBay. It's a great company. You know, they come, I go. You know, Tai Chi is like, you fight here, I go over there. You put it on the top, I go to down, right? So it's a balance. Many years ago, I want to change the world. Now I think if we want to change the world, we change ourselves. Change ourselves is more important and easier than change the world. And second is that I want to improve the world. Because to change the world may be Obama's job. Because my job is to making sure that my team are happy. Because my team are happy, they can make my customer happy. I remember one of the senior management of Walmart guys came to Hangzhou 5 years ago. I said, maybe in 10 years we'll be bigger than Walmart. He said, young man, you have a good hope. If you want to have 10,000 new customers, you have to build a new warehouse and this, that. For me, 2 servers.
Today we're going to be talking about how to stop your negative thinking and become a positive person. I get this question asked to me a lot, and I'm super excited to dive into it because it's a lot simpler than you actually think that it is. Now, before we dive into it, if you like this episode, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button that's down below. I put out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I would not want you to miss a video on how to master your mindset, because when you master your mind, the outside world becomes much, much easier to navigate through. So when we're talking about how to master your mind and how to stop your negative thinking, the easiest way to think of it is through this analogy. Imagine if you have water, right? And you go up to a flower bed and you just pour water all over the entire flower bed. Well, you have flowers that will grow naturally, and you have weeds that will grow naturally as well. Think of the water as your energy throughout the entire day. But the difference is you can actually decide where you're going to pour that water, where you're going to put your energy throughout the day. If you decide that you want to go up to a pile of weeds and put water just on the weeds, that's your decision. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to have weeds grow taller and stronger. Not only will they get taller and stronger, they will also get deeper roots. And the deeper those roots get, the stronger that bond and the harder that it will be to actually pull out. Now, The exact same thing is true on the other side. If you go up to just the flowers and you could just somehow figure out a way to just water the flowers, then you're going to have just the flowers grow. Maybe every once in a while you have a weed grow and you just pluck that thing right out. But you have the flowers grow, and the bigger and stronger, the more energy and water that you put into those flowers, the stronger and deeper the roots will get, and the harder it will be to pull that out as well. It's the exact same thing. The weeds are like your negative thoughts. If you put all of your energy into what you don't want, and all of the people that are screwing you over, or the things that are going wrong, then you're going to get more of that. It's going to get deeper and deeper rooted into your brain, and harder for you to break that habit the longer that you allow it to go. But it's not impossible to break, because if you stop watering the weeds, guess what will happen? They will eventually die. If you stop putting your energy into all of the negativity, you'll stop thinking negative. And so what happens is if you go and you put all of your energy into the positive thinking, just like the flowers, the roots grow deeper. They become stronger. It becomes easier for you to think positive. Now, I don't want you to think that because of the fact that you're thinking positive, I'm saying, hey, don't think about the negative things in life. Because a lot of people are like, well, positive thinking is a bunch of BS because there's a lot of negative things and you need to think about them. I agree with that. But I think that the more positive of a person that you are, the stronger that your roots in your brain are, the deeper that they go in positivity, the more suited that you can go and deal with the negative things. If you're a negative person, well, then it's hard to deal with negative things because that's all you think about. But if you're a positive person and you can put a positive spin on the negative things, or find a way to make those negative things positive, or at least say this thing was really bad and it happened, how can I figure out some sort of way to turn this into a positive, right? The example I like to give that really changed my life when I realized this was when my father passed away when I was 15. He was an alcoholic. Long story, don't need to get into it, but he was an alcoholic. He passed away when I was 15. And I remember 3 weeks after it happened, my mom asked me about it, and she's like, so what are your thoughts, and wanted to see how I was feeling. And I said, if Dad knew how much good is going to come from this because of how much I'm going to change my life, I think that he would be okay with passing away, right? I was determined to take the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life and put a spin on it, right? Because I said, this is the first person that I've ever known that's passed away. Now I realize, holy crap, life is short. I'm going to do as much as I can to impact this world. That's taking a negative and putting a positive spin on it. The more positive that you are, the more that you can put positive on something negative that happens to you. That's what you have to realize. So now, the other thing you have to realize is I know that negativity tends to be a habit. You start to notice yourself going down that path of negativity, right? If you notice yourself watering the weeds, putting your energy into the negative, what you do is you snap out of it. As soon as you notice it, you go, oh my God, I'm watering the weeds. I need to stop watering the weeds. And you stop watering the weeds and you take that energy, you take that water, start watering the flowers. Start putting the energy into the positive, right? And a lot of people are like, but my life is so hard. There's so many things that are going wrong right now. I have this happening and this happening, this. And I get it, right? Life can be really hard sometimes, but there's always something to be grateful for. So when you notice yourself going down that negative path, the best thing for you to do once you stop watering the weeds, stop putting your energy into negative, is go, what can I be grateful for right now? That's the question to ask yourself. Oh my gosh, I'm going down this negative route. I'm watering the weeds. Let me stop for a second. Let me close my eyes. Let me take a couple deep breaths and ask myself, what can I be grateful for right now? Right? You have food, water, shelter, clothing, some way to get this information to you through the internet, which means you probably have a phone service or a computer service, which means you might have a little bit extra money to be able to pay for something like that. Even if it's just a couple dollars, you have a surplus of money, right? And the other thing that you can think of, if you have nothing, if you have no food, water, shelter, clothing, nobody that loves you in this world, you have your breath and you have your heartbeat, which means that there is still time. There's still time for you to turn it around. There's still time for you to stop watering the weeds. There's still time for you to put your energy and your focus into becoming a better person and making your life something amazing. No matter how bad it is, if you're listening to my voice and you're at rock bottom and you're addicted to drugs, you can wake up right now in this very instant and say, you know what? I'm going to act like my life is a movie and I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to be the hero of my own story, because we all love a movie. where something's going really wrong, and we watch this person, like The Pursuit of Happiness, where things are going so bad and we're rooting for him, and he turns his life around and makes something amazing of it, right? Pretend that you're in that situation. You're in the rock bottom, but the crowd's rooting for you to turn it around. So no matter where you are, there's always something to be grateful for. If you have nothing, you have your heartbeat, which means that there is still time. There is always something to be grateful for. So when you notice yourself going down the negative path, you ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this moment right now? And that is the key to being positive, is to not ignore the negative, but to stop putting so much energy into the negative and stop watering the weeds and you start putting energy into the positive and watering the flowers. So if you like this video, once again, I put out videos every Tuesday and Wednesday. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button that is right here so that you never miss another one of my videos. If you like this, hit the like button. If you have any questions, I love to answer questions. Put them down. I try to answer questions whenever I get a chance. Put them down below. Let me know that you're here. Don't just be one of the creepers that sits in the back and watches the videos and never engages with the stuff. And if you're curious as far as events that I do, coachings that I do, all of those things, you can hit my, down below, you can hit the website button that's down below and see what else I got going on. So I appreciate you for watching this, and I'll see you on the next one.
Zig Ziglar said, success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. But that doesn't answer all our questions. So let's look at another question. How do you discover an opportunity? I may not be able to give you a simple formula to discover $1 million opportunity, but I know some questions that can help you find new opportunities. They are, where is the world going and how can I be there first? This dual question can make you a millionaire, because if you know where the world is going and you can figure out how to get there, you can help everyone else get there and charge them for it. In other words, if you know the kind of products, services, or platforms that exist and the world will be using a whole lot in the nearest future, you can create just that and become extremely rich doing so. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you the 3 industries I've personally discovered. These industries have moved from where they used to be, so they give more opportunities for people who know where they are going. And if you're smart enough, you can become a millionaire by going where the world is moving to. If you're new here, consider subscribing so that you won't miss other exciting videos like this. 1. New media industry. No, not necessarily the kind of media you know or think I'm talking about. You see, media is wherever people consume content, and in this section, I'm going to show you how to make millions from a new kind of media which most people don't know. Here's how it all started. In 1690, Benjamin Harris published what is regarded as the first newspaper in history. It was titled Public Occurrences, Both Foreign and Domestic. That was the beginning of mass media. From its beginning till date, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have become rich by leveraging what Benjamin Harris started in the 17th century. 203 years after the invention of the newspaper, something bigger hit the world, and that was the radio. By the year 1893, Guglielmo Marconi proved the feasibility of radio, and by the year 1920s, radios have become the biggest media in the world. Everyone was crazy about it, but something bigger was coming, and that was the television in the year 1940. Again, smart entrepreneurs focused on the television because it's a superior technology to the radio, and it can capture human visual and hearing attention, unlike radio, which is only audio. The TV boom was considered as the biggest thing after the invention of water. Okay, nobody invented water, so I was only messing around, but you get the point. The TV was big. But there was a problem. There was a problem with all of the above 3 industries. You needed a lot of money to get involved. You can't start a newspaper business until you have millions of dollars. Television and radio are crazily expensive, so they are usually businesses for the rich. However, something crazy happened in the year 1983, and that was more attention being paid to connecting computers. And by the year 1990, something called the internet had become a toddler. Today, according to a recent report, an average person now spends more than 6 hours every day on the internet. And that's a big opportunity if you have an interest in building a media company. Why did I say that? Well, most time people spend online is spent consuming content. And don't forget, What I told you earlier, media is content. Everything else you were told is meaningless. You think about it. Why do we read the newspaper, listen to the radio, or watch television? It's because of content. The good thing about the internet is that it's free to start a media company right here. While you need millions of dollars to start a TV business, you don't need any money to start a YouTube channel. While you need hundreds of thousands to start a newspaper business, you don't need more than $100 to start a blog. While you need a lot of money to start a radio business, you don't need more than a few dollars to start your online podcast shows. And any of these can make you millions if it is what you have passion for. I am telling you what I know. 2. New education industry. If you mention education in the last 30 years, everyone thinks about school, colleges, and universities. Because everyone thought these institutions were solely responsible for education, they duped everyone by charging crazily high fees until things started falling apart for these guys. First, people started realizing that the kind of education they get from school won't help them in life. While some forgo school altogether, some look for additional ways to get education. Let me shock you with this truth. The online education industry is projected to be worth $325 billion by the year 2020. Yes, $325 billion. And anyone who knows what he's talking about can teach online. This is a new industry, and most people don't know it exists. So, how do you get into the game of online education? Very simple. What do you have expertise in? What are you passionate about? What can you teach other people? Look at the internet and you'll see all sorts of people teaching different kinds of things. For example, there are channels on YouTube teaching English, workouts, or even makeup. I'm here talking about entrepreneurship and money because that's my passion. You can be there talking about medicine or accounting. I've even seen people teaching history, economics, and little stuff like that. You have no idea how much some of these people are making, but because I am one of them, I can tell you that you can become wealthy by taking advantage of the new education industry by leveraging on the internet. 3. New technology industry. Today, if you mention technology, most people see the pictures of the computers, software, plugins, phones, and things like that. While these are all technologies, we must not forget that it was a technological advancement discovered as at the time our ancestors discovered how to get fire out of stones. It was a tremendous technological advancement when our forefathers figured out that we can plant our crops and stop being nomadic. Technology has always been in progress, and my studies about entrepreneurship and successful entrepreneurs have shown me that the most successful entrepreneurs in the history of the world are those who take advantage of the new technologies before other people know about them. It is easier to use the examples of Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, or Mark Zuckerberg. Still, if you go back to history, you'll notice that Henry Ford's success came as a result of discovering superior technologies, which his competitors didn't know about. And the history of other successful entrepreneurs will show you just how technologies are the blood of their success. Now, if you're an entrepreneur in the 21st century, which technology would you focus on? When Bill Gates was asked a similar question, his answer was artificial intelligence. And that is because artificial intelligence will change the world. Whatever can change the world will make some people extremely rich. Don't get me wrong, you don't necessarily have to obtain a degree in artificial intelligence. All you have to do is start with some blog post, maybe buy 1 or 2 introductory books about artificial intelligence. You only need to know more than 99% of people, and since most people are lazy, you're in luck, because you can easily outlearn them. I want to conclude this video with the wise words of Mark Cuban, which goes like, for the past 1 decade my question has always been, where is the world going and how can I get there first? To be successful in life, you should always ask yourself, where is the world going and how can I get there before everyone else? If you think about media, the world is going entirely on the internet, so you might take your space here before everyone does. If you think about education, it's gradually moving away from school, as people are now willing to learn all sorts of things online. So if you want to start an education company, look at the industry that might be worth $325 billion soon. If you're an entrepreneur at all, you should look at artificial intelligence and see how you can understand it more than most people, because this can make you extremely rich. Again, always ask yourself, where is the world going? And how can I get there before everyone? If you like this video, don't forget to share it with your friends. We love you. Just a few years ago, my opinion about the job is, it's slavery. I simply believe that it's a bad thing to have a job. I was stupid. As I grew up, I understood better. Now, I not only think that getting a job is not necessarily a bad thing, I believe that you can be happy as an employee. Not just that I believe that you can be happy as an employee, I believe that you can be a millionaire as an employee. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how you can be a millionaire even as an employee. If you're new here, consider subscribing so that you won't miss other interesting videos like this. How money is made. In my early years, I usually thought the only way to make a lot of money is to create products that millions of people are willing to buy. But as I grew up and got to know some employees who were earning a whole lot of money from their jobs, I changed the way I thought. Now, this is what I believe. We make money by being valuable. Being valuable, that's the key word. If you want to be rich as an employee, one thing you have to do is to be very much valuable. Far more valuable than most people. Rising above competition. The first time I employed someone was in the year 2009. Over the years, I've announced vacant positions in my company, and almost every time we received too many applications, more than we need. The last time my company announced some vacant positions was last month. Up till the time of making this video, we're still receiving an application after more than 2,000 people have applied for about 10 positions. Let's think about it this way. Why are most employees poor? The answer is simple. Most employees are poor because the job market is so crowded that supply for jobs is crazily higher than the demand. The simple economic principle teaches us that whenever the supply of anything is higher than its demand, the price must fall. When 100 people are fighting for a job, that gives the employer the power to pay less than he should. Close your mind and imagine a world where employees only get 3 applications for 30 job positions. What would happen in such a world? Well, everyone will be well paid because manpower is scarce. But as long as employers like me can see 50 people begging for one job, the hope of a high-paying job is lean. But there's a way out of that. And that is, be more valuable than everyone. No, listen to this. Though millions of people are looking for jobs, truly valuable people are very scarce. If you work hard to become more valuable than most people, your employer will not just pay you higher than everyone, he will cherish you like his eyes. What does value mean? For so many years, every neurosurgeon in the world believed that you cannot separate conjoined twins, but a man would prove everyone wrong. His name is Ben Carson. He's a curious and studious human being. He read everything he found inside. He closed his eyes to many pleasures and studied beyond the normal boundaries any of his mates will ever dare. He experimented and prepared himself. In 1987, Ben Carson became the first neurosurgeon in the world to ever successfully separate a conjoined twin. Then he became world famous. Everyone wanted to listen to him. So he wrote a book to tell his stories. The book sold in millions. He wrote another book and another book. Ben Carson is an employee, but he became a millionaire. How did he do it? Ben Carson became a millionaire by going the extra mile. He became a millionaire by becoming far more valuable to the world than almost everyone in his field. He became valuable by reading the books nobody read, studying what no one did, and daring what nobody did. That's being valuable to the world. Though value means different things in different industries, even to a different company, in all, being valuable means that you know much more about your industry and profession than everyone else. If you're a computer engineer, for example, your goal should be able to perform more miracles with computer programming than anyone in the world. If you're in sales or the marketing department of your company, your goal should be to understand more about human nature and what makes them buy more than anybody in the world. Your goal should be to know how to sell and to sell far more than anybody in your industry. Joe Girard was an American salesman in a Chevrolet dealership. Joe so much studied and understood sales, which is why he sold 13,001 cars between the years 1963 and 1978 and became the world bestseller, in which he was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the seller of the most cars in a year, 1,425 in 1973. Needless to say, Joe became a millionaire. Like Carson, people were willing to listen to what Joe Girard had to say about selling, and that made him write books which made him even richer. Again, the formula is very simple. If you want to become a millionaire as an employee, then you have to separate yourself from the crowd. You don't just have to be an employee, you have to be an indispensable employee. Don't say it's tough. Yes, to be among the top 3% who make all the money in your industry is a tough game, but there are no two ways out of it. As I love to tell people, there are only two ways to become rich and still have some level of freedom. The first way is to be a successful entrepreneur, and the second way is to be an indispensable employee. Unfortunately, none of these two ways are easy. So, if you want to be a millionaire as an employee, you have to make up your mind to pay the price for such a crown. You must seek to know what nobody else knows in your industry, so that you'll be able to do what nobody else can do. It's by being able to solve the problems nobody else can solve that a company will be willing to pay you the kind of money they can't pay anyone else. Making money versus growing money. This video will not make sense if the only thing we'll talk about is how to be so valuable and get paid a crazy amount of money. You see, making money is half of the money equation. Keeping and growing money are as important as making money. So let's talk about that. Let's assume that you'll follow all the advice in this video. Increase your value in the marketplace and attract a company that is willing to pay you an unbelievable amount of money. If you think that by making a lot of money you'll be rich, that's not true, because money is like a bird. It flies fast and easily. According to Parkinson's law, human expense increases in direct proportion to our income. So if care is not taken, you'll spend all your big checks faster than you earn them. The best way to grow money is to concentrate on buying assets. You can start by having a mandatory saving for a certain percentage of your income. Then learn about different investment portfolios like real estate, mutual funds, or even starting your own business. The key here is you have to be aware that keeping and growing money is as difficult as making it. This understanding will push you to learn how to grow your money and become a millionaire. The summary of this video is this: you don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur before you'll become rich, but you have to work hard at being the most valuable individual in your industry. If you're a software engineer, your goal should be to be the best software engineer in the world. If you're a pilot, your goal should be to become the best pilot in the world. If you're a web designer, your goal should be to become the best web designer in the world. If you're an accountant, a lawyer, or a doctor, your goal is to be the best in the world. The more problems you can solve with other people can't, the more money any company will be willing to throw at you, and the richer you'll become. And when you start making money, remember that it is as difficult to keep the money as it is to make it. So, learn how to buy assets that help you grow your money. Do you know about our inspirational channel? We call it Hunt TV, and we use the channel to inspire people like you who want to do great things with their lives. Look at the description box to see the link to Hunt TV. Join the Hunt TV and we'll give you daily inspiration until you achieve your dreams. One of the common questions we get in the comment section of this channel is, are you rich yourself? This question makes a lot of sense since we talk a lot about money on this channel. If I talk a lot about money and entrepreneurship, it does make sense that someone wants to know if I'm rich, right? Well, the answer to that question is this. I'm rich according to my definition of wealth, and that raises another big problem. For example, what is the definition of wealth and who is rich? I need to tell you a story to reveal what I think about this subject. You see, when I was growing up as a boy in a poor household, I noticed that most people are slaves of money because they do what they hate several hours per day and still don't have any money. So I decided that I was going to try and be a free man. Then, my definition of financial prosperity becomes, do what you extremely love and earn a little more than enough to take care of your needs. I achieved this goal when I was around 30 years old. Now, the problem you might have with me is to want to know how many millions is my net worth. But don't bother yourself about that, as it doesn't matter to me at all. What matters to me is to have more than enough money to take care of my needs and to do what I extremely love doing. And by that standard, I'm wealthy. Now that you know that I'm wealthy, how did I do it and what sacrifices did I make to achieve my dreams? That's what I'll be sharing with you in this video. And before we proceed, let me make it clear that I'm not speaking against the Bill Gates and Warren Buffetts of this world. I'm not speaking against being a billionaire or even a trillionaire. I'm only telling you about my philosophy about money. So, let's get into today's business. Books are boring. So are herbs. I'm a Nigerian, and I grew up in a village. In the village where I grew up, whenever you're sick, the default medicine is a herb. I don't know which part of the world you are, or whether you even know what herbs are, but it's simply the mixture of various leaves that are believed to have medicinal value. Needless to say, herbs are usually very bitter. But whenever you're sick, you have to take herbs so that you could recover from your malaria or any other illness. For most of us who are adults, books are the perfect representative of the herbs because books are boring. For me, the first sacrifice I made when trying to become wealthy is that I read a lot of books. Reading books has a way of changing the way you see the world and what you think is possible. Between the ages of 17 till 30, I read hundreds of books about entrepreneurship, money, human relationship, psychology, marketing, public speaking, and a lot more. Even today, I read one book every week because my life depends on God and books. Growing up in a community where poverty is everywhere, it was my reading habit that made me believe in the possibilities that I wasn't seeing around me. Herbs are bitter, but they heal sicknesses. Books are boring, but they change lives. Read books if you want to change your life. Yes, it's not easy to read, especially in the world where there are too many interesting things going on social media. But that's why I call it a sacrifice. Go against the norms. Immediately as I started reading, the way I saw the world started changing, and the way I thought started changing. I no longer believed in what most people believed, and because of that, I became the black sheep of my family. If you want to go far in life, you must have the courage to go against what most people believe is right. For example, everybody in the community where I grew up believes that the best goal to pursue as a young person is to figure out how to get a job in a big company. I thought that the opposite is the right goal. Why not build a small company? Isn't it better to build a small company than to work for a big company? Walking against everybody is tough because we're humans and we need love and approval of others to remain alive. But sometimes you just have to make the sacrifice of being lonely, and that is what I did. I read to act. I know a few people who read books, but only a few of them ever stand up to take action after they acquire knowledge. For these people, knowledge is to make their head bigger, and I get it. Knowledge is sweet. It makes you feel good to know what most people don't know. And it's even sweeter if you can find a few people to argue with to prove that you have deep insights. But it's a waste of your time. For me, I learned not to know, but to do. I don't know any single human who is as proactive as I am when it comes to getting out and trying things. Yes, I don't know anyone who fails as much as I did too, but that's the sacrifice I'm talking about. If you want to play safe, you can do that by following the tested formula. But I assure you that you'll never achieve anything extraordinary until you dare to take action. Would you fail? Absolutely yes. You'll make mistakes and fail, but guess what? You'll become smarter and smarter until you become successful. Use people and let them use you. Some time ago, I read a book that your network determines your net worth, and you better believe that. You see, who you hang out with determines who you become. If all your friends are poor, you'll be poor. And I don't want to interpret this to mean monetary poverty. Instead, I mean ambition poverty. If your friends don't think big, if they don't have a positive view about life, if they complain and make excuses, don't deceive yourself to believe that you can be their opposite, because none of us can. Now, where the sacrifice lies is that you must be willing to say no to wrong and negative people, and make further sacrifices to say yes to the right people, because you need the right people to be used. I mean, used because that's what it is. You must have people around you whose knowledge and experiences can be useful for you as you move through the difficult journey of life, and you have to be conscious about making these people your friends and keeping them. This requires sacrifices. You'll have reasons to give up. Don't. I love to tell people that I failed in the business world for 8 years because that's a crazy thing to imagine. I mean, 8 bloody years of struggle, 8 crazy years of rejection, 8 terrible years of mistakes and failures. But I was too stupid to turn back. If this is not a sacrifice, I don't know what else is. But that's what you have to do to achieve your dreams. I have no doubt you'll have reason to give up. Life will maltreat you. Life will crush you. Life will frustrate you. Life will nearly disown you. Your ability to hang there and keep fighting is the only asset that will make you win. In summary, let me encourage anyone out there who's trying to achieve something worthwhile with their life. Be a warrior and learn the rules of the game you're playing. Make a sacrifice to read and learn. Say no to the TV and social media if need be. Say no to useless meetings and parties if need be. And when you learn, you'll be courageous enough to take action. Yes, the next thing that will happen when you take action is that you'll make mistakes and fail. You can cry, but never give up. Don't forget, life won't give you anything until it gets you to pay for it. If you like this video, you might like to join our new motivational channel. We call it Hunt TV. Look at the description box to join the Hunt TV. We love you.